I hope you all had a lovely bank holiday weekend. Those of you that got the extra day and were celebrating, doing whatever it is that you choose to do on a bank holiday. My husband and I went to Nep Estate and we were quite happily, casually walking around, doing the longer walk, which is roughly about 10k. And there were, lots of horses, there were lots of deer, there was, lots of birds. It was just wonderful, enjoying myself, having a detox from all the stuff to do with the videos recently and mainly archetypes. And then ding, phone went. And there was a headline that Meghan has done another interview attacking the royal family. And I thought, oh, it's bank holiday. Can she not have a break? Was she not getting enough coverage, whether it be positive or negative, from archetypes? But no. She has gone one step further and she's chosen the eve of Diana's, well, I say the anniversary, it always sounds really wrong saying that, but 25 years since Diana lost her life. And the front cover, she's dressed like Diana as well. So again, it's that whole creepy level, but the fact that she is using Diana's death, knowing that there will be media coverage talking about Diana's death, William and Harry, and by default her, and she has used it to launch another assault on the royal family. She's been not so clever with her dig. She's clearly made swipes at Catherine and William, and just overall, it is one of the most bizarre interviews I have ever read. So when I came back from the walk, I sat down and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to see what everyone's saying about it on social media. And you've got some comical, you've got some harsh words, and you've got some ones that I actually can't tell you because they're a bit too rude. But let's just say the name of the magazine is called The Cut, and people have been playing alphabet spaghetti by adding in a few additional letters. I think you can work that one out for yourself. So on the lighter ones that we heard were cheese slid off her cracker, kangaroos are loose in the top paddock, away with the fairies, sandwiches short of a picnic, oh no wait, I think the whole picnic basket's missing, she's Fruit Loopy, completely bonkers, and then one of my personal favourites, which I've never heard before, and that is, she's now left Crazy Street and is halfway up Straight Jacket Mountain. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. So, Meghan looking completely mean in this photograph. Now, I've seen lots of photographs of Meghan, obviously been covering her and members of the royal family for a number of years now, years, and she can look absolutely beautiful. There is no denying that Meghan is an attractive woman. Just because the personality sucks doesn't mean that she's not, pretty. Obviously, it can put people off, but this I found incredibly harsh. It made her, as I said, look mean. She does look vengeful. And speaking of vengeful, this is some of the words that people chose to describe her face on the cover. And that was venomous, vindictive, vengeful, vicious, bitter and obsessive. So very big on the V's there. And yeah, they're not wrong, are they? So where to start with this little chestnut? Well, Meghan has done an interview with The Cut magazine, which is based in New York. And she has posed for some really natural, candid photographs, as you can see here. Clearly no longer finding it boastful to appear on the cover. Let's just say we've got the Chelsea Davy white suit look. Coincidence? Look at the colour of the earrings. We've got the Michelle Obama cross Catherine princess dress kind of outfit look here. We've got the just casually hugging my knees as I sit here hiding my feet on the bench. I'm just a down-to-earth mother. And then obviously we've got the polo neck, which is channeling Diana. But a lot of people have compared her, not just due to the polo neck, but to Elizabeth Holmes. But it's not the photographs that have drawn so much criticism. It is actually the words that fell out of Meghan's mouth, which literally range from, oh my, she didn't. Did she just say that? Did I read that right? Where's my glasses? She did. Yeah, literally. She's really going all out on pushing buttons as South Africans, that's for sure. Archetypes, as you know from my previous videos with the Footsec Meghan, she was definitely getting a lot of grief, shall we say, because she's offended them. Not once, but twice, but multiple times. Well, she's gone and done it again because she's compared herself to Nelson Mandela, and I will come to that shortly. She's even come out with a more outrageous claim of racism, which has never been brought up before. She used the N-word. Yes, she did. And it is just every time someone gives Meghan a microphone, the stories become more extreme. And she's even gone as far to throw a really hurtful bomb at Charles to talk about the fact that Harry has lost his father. She talks about her father like he's dead, and now she's done the same with Harry. And there has been some backpedaling by their official mouthpiece, Omid Scobie, but as I will come to later in the video, it doesn't quite add up. Even some of the royal reporters, which are normally soft on the Sussexes or the Montecito duo, whichever you wish to call them, you know, they're flags in the wind, they do sugary stories about them, or they don't really question a lot of the stuff when, you know, they've quite clearly lied. But even they have been dissecting it, going, I cannot truly believe that she said this. This is how outrageous it is. As I said, even pro-Sussex royal reporters are in shock. In one of the many statements that I will cover, Meghan has said that she is trying to forgive the royal family. Yeah, she's healing. She's trying to forgive them. Let's be honest, the list is truly endless of all of the privileges that Meghan was given, and anyone that tries to tell me that she was held back and she wasn't given enough of an opportunity or advantages compared to other members of the royal family because she's biracial, I'm sorry, as I've said before, I've got some toasted ice to sell you. A chocolate fire guard, maybe. Because if anything, Meghan being biracial, actually, I think, got her elevated a lot quicker. For the simple fact that people didn't want to have the race word or the race card thrown at them. And that blew up in their faces anyway, didn't it? So the interviewer Alison starts by saying that Meghan is silenced no more. Oh, please, she has never, ever been silenced. Anyone that thinks that Meghan has been silenced with all of the drama that has come out from her so much as joining the royal family, again, is completely delusional with a sprinkle of crazy. Meghan teases the interviewer that she's going to be back on Instagram, but quickly kind of teases it back again, like nobody cares. Plus the fact I think everyone knows that Meghan never left Instagram or Twitter. Or probably YouTube. Hi, Meghan! Meghan goes on to start explaining about everything that she gave up for her love story, which is Harry. And, you know, and when you look at what Meghan gave up to what she's got now, and she's still complaining about it, it's not exactly humble, that's for sure, for her to still be swiping at the royal family that gave her everything. She talks about how she gave up all that she had, and all I see is Harry that has given up everything he's ever known, loved and had, and Meghan has gained absolutely everything. In one of the most outrageous things that she comes out with, she discusses the photographs of the children, and she says, why would I give the very people that are calling my children the N-word a photo of my child before I can share it with people that love them? You're like, who called your child the N-word? I'm not being funny. I know some guys in America will not believe this, but it's not a word we generally throw around in the UK. It's really not. I mean, it's one of the most disgusting words as it is. So she's used the most extreme offensive word for the shock factor to get people to then go, who said it? Who did it? She's done that thing that she did in Oprah, where she doesn't specifically say or give proof as to when it ever happened or who did it, so people can generalize it and basically apply it to whoever it was that they feel could have possibly done it. It's really underhanded. So that's one of the more shocking statements, and you do begin to feel sorry for the reporter of this article, but she's actually quite witty with it, and it's not a complimentary article if you read between the lines and you understand sarcasm for a start. And you can tell she's bemused by some of the stuff that happens throughout this interview. And one of the things was Meghan starts telling Alison what to write, but talking about herself in the third person, right? So Meghan's words, talking to the reporter, she's making these guttural sounds, and I can't quite articulate what it is she's feeling in that moment because she has no word for it. She's just moaning. So Meghan was telling Alison to write that down about her. And you know it's Meghan's words as well because she's used guttural. Do you remember she did that recently when she was talking about Harry made a guttural noise, which is like, unless he was clearing his throat or he had some sort of stomach complaint, I think she meant visceral. So this is obviously, you know that Meghan's doing this, but what a control freak. She is literally controlling every bit of the narrative. Meghan went in and divulged the urgency of them having to leave Canada, either her own paranoia or the stories that she told Harry to trigger his paranoia. But when they were staying in that Russian oligarch's home in Saanich on Vancouver Island, she talks about how there were men in boats spying on them. You're just They were fishing, Meghan, come on. There were poor guys out there that were just having a lovely time, just having a fish. If you remember, they put those privacy fences all the way around and tried to close off public footpaths. She just literally, as I said, a little sprinkling of an extra bit of crazy. But that story was told so she could talk about how Tyler Perry saved them. Basically, Tyler reached out to Meghan and said how happy he was for them and he's always there for them. So Meghan struggled to do this, but she eventually reached out and managed to convince him to let them, even though they'd never met, stay in one of his homes. And yeah, that story in itself was just, I really struggled to approach him, but we were so desperate because the evil monarchy were trying to take away everything that we had. We were so unsafe on Vancouver Island. Meghan goes on to start talking about their small and humble mansion that they picked him on to Cito. They picked it without even going inside. Yeah. So Meghan goes on to explain in only the way that Meghan can how they went and they didn't even go into the property when they decided they wanted it because Harry and Meghan took a walk into the gardens and and Harry saw two palm trees and he turns and said to Meghan, "See how they're connected at the bottom? My love, it's us." And every day now Archie goes past and says, "Hi, Mama. Hi, Papa." How can she say that? Oh, just cringe fest. So Meghan turns to Lindsay and then basically goes further in with this cringe fest nightmare that you are now reading. And she sweeps her arm around the property, scanning across the pool and the orchards and everything, and says, "We just had to buy it because when we walked into the property, it was joy and calm and healing. You feel free." Honestly, Lindsay deserves a medal for managing to sit there and keep a straight face and write this article. This one's a corker. So obviously continuing, Meghan then expresses the fact that she knows that people still see her as a princess. It's important to be thoughtful about it because even with the Oprah interview, I was conscious of the fact there are little girls that I meet that are just like, "Oh my God, it's a real life princess." I just look at all of them and think, you have the power within you to create a life greater than any fairy tale. Meghan constantly tries to paint herself out as this Disney princess. And have you ever watched a Disney film in the duration of your life and ever remembered the young maiden then finally becoming a princess and then setting fire to the prince's kingdom while torching his family inside and watching them burn while laughing with glee? It's not exactly a Disney film you'd be watching with the kids, is it? So Harry gets his little appearance in as well. Of course he does, because this is the only reason why Meghan's actually getting any of these interviews. Harry pops in and just magically starts telling the story of how he's become a handyman and he'd been fixing the pipes. Yeah, of course he has. He also fixed the neighbour's sprinklers. That might be a euphemism or something. But Harry exclaims to the reporter whilst talking to Meghan, like this isn't all set up and scripted, "You were gone for 10 hours yesterday." I wonder what she was up to, because let's be honest, Harry's clearly not going to ask the question, is he? He sets the stage by telling Alison, "Go on, Meghan, tell her what you said to me yesterday when I said you're a model." Meghan chimes in that, "I'm not a model, I'm a mum." Harry responds with, "You can be both." Honestly, at this point, I know you're lost, aren't you? Are you puking? I mean, what's happening with you guys? I hope you're still there. I mean, what the WTF? What the has that got to do with anything? Why has this been scripted to come in? Talk about Harry fixing pipes and sprinklers and Meghan's a model and a mum. It's just unreal. Meghan also drip feeds throughout the interview that Netflix will be doing, their docu-series will be about their love story, but she does it in such a way that she doesn't actually say it. She just winks and makes gestures and redirects with half answers. "The piece of my life I haven't been able to share, that people haven't been able to see, is our love story. Just remind myself to set up record on my TV, said no one ever." Poor old Alison gets put on the spot as well because Meghan says to her, "Your eye contact is so good, you're looking into my soul." Alison is probably trying hard not to choke down her laughter that she's sitting across from Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and she's actually hearing these words and having to write them down. Alison gets brave and she asks the question, does Harry ever feel isolated, the fact that he's cut off from his friends, his family, his life? Meghan quickly responds with, well, look, we're both building a community. What? A community? You're in a community. It's called Montecito. You're building a community? She's completely paved over that question. Of course, he doesn't miss his family, his friends, his duties, his grandparents. He doesn't miss anything. He just loves me. Now, in more vomit-inducing stuff, and I think you guys are going to unsubscribe from me at this point. I'm really sorry, but I've got to read it to you. Obviously still referencing the fact that Harry gave up everything to move across to California to keep Meghan happy. She says, salt and pepper move together. You never move one without the other. That's me and Harry. Oh, yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? I know. She brings up how they were stalked and harassed by the UK media. I mean, she wishes, look what poor Catherine had to go through on a regular basis. None of this ever happened to Meghan. No matter how much she wishes it, she was still calling the paps even when she'd married into the royal family to make sure that they captured those candid moments. Speaking of the royal family, she went on to say that just by existing, they were upsetting the hierarchy. How they were cruelly told that they couldn't monetize the monarchy for personal interest and gain, yet others in the family, princes, princesses and dukes, do this, naming no one yet again, causing speculation. Meghan basically wanted to be a full-time working royal, taxpayer funded, while also being paid for appearances. She implied to Alison the only reason this decision was made and they weren't allowed to do it was because of racism. Much like on the Oprah tell-all where she implied something, Oprah was the one that turned around and said, was it because Archie might have been born with brown skin? She's allowed Oprah to interpret it as she sees fit, and she was trying to do the same with Alison. This is a way that Meghan can turn around and say, there was a racist in the family, but I'm not going to tell you who, because it then casts a blanket across the whole of the royal family. It means she gets to keep her hands clean whilst throwing bombs that no one can actually defend. By implying dukes, princes and princesses, she's pretty much cast a blanket across like the whole of the royal family that they're monetizing it, but they're not. If she's talking about members of the royal family that are not taxpayer funded full-time working royals, then yes, they can pursue careers of their own. So Meghan brings up the Lion King story. Now this one, I'm surprised that they brought this one up. I can't believe that she came out with this, but this is another one that's made headlines. So Harry had not that long been appointed the Captain General of the Royal Marines, a very important role that was handed down by Prince Philip to him. And Harry ditched going to a memorial concert in Deal in Kent for 11 Marines that had lost their lives due to an IRA attack. And he took his wife to the Lion King premiere. Now, most of you guys know that they pimped Meghan for voiceover work. It was truly horrific. They were caught on camera, not just doing it to Bob Iger, but also various other Disney execs. Meghan has said that she was too terrified to go out after Archie's birth. Obviously had no issues with flying all the way to the US Opens, leaving Archie at home, or flying to, I think it was Ibiza. They went and visited Elton John, and then of course they went to Misha Nune's second wedding in Italy. But Meghan was terrified, absolutely shaking in her boots, hating every minute on that yellow carpet. But in between Meghan desperately trying to pitch herself to Disney execs, a cast member managed to pull Meghan aside. He looked at me and said, I just need you to know that when you married into the family, we rejoiced in the streets the same as we did when Mandela was freed from prison. So obviously she's referring to a member of the Lion King cast who is South African, but to say that people rejoiced in the streets in South Africa the same as they did when Nelson Mandela was released, unbelievable. I'm sure people celebrated all around the world, but it was actually the people in the UK that were out on the streets having the street parties. But to compare herself to Nelson Mandela, again, Harry did it on the UN speech, talking about his suffering that he went through and tried to compare himself. You know, it's truly outstanding. So obviously with everything from archetypes coming out about South Africa, they are not impressed by this. There is actually something that happened at the Lion King premiere, but it was Pharrell Williams. So is she demoting him to a Lion King cast member? It's a bit laughable. But Pharrell did speak to her and he did say something, which was recorded by the media. I'm so happy for your union. Love is amazing. It's wonderful. Don't ever take that for granted. In today's climate, it's so significant for us. We're cheering you guys on. But the fact that she can twist what he said and turn it into this big dramatic thing that the whole of South Africa was celebrated in the streets and comparing herself to it's truly remarkable. And I know I say that in so many videos, but every time she manages to shock me. So obviously upsetting South Africa yet again. She has upset the royal family. This time she's actually thrown a very nasty emotional bomb at Prince Charles by referring to him as being lost to Harry. This has upset a lot of people on social media. You know, I've said it before. I lost my dad due to illness. He died. And the way Meghan talks about her father like he's dead, and now she's done the same about her husband's father. It's disrespectful, given the fact that Charles was still giving them millions for their lifestyle, even when they lived in Montecito. She truly is a piece of work trying to separate Harry from the last few fragments of his life that he might be able to retrieve. So I'm going to break down what Meghan said, and I hope this is clear. This is Meghan explaining to Alison what Harry said to Meghan. I lost my dad in this process. So that was what Harry said to Meghan, and Meghan's repeating to Alison. It doesn't have to be the same for them as it was for me, but that's his decision. So that's Meghan reiterating the fact that it's Harry's decision if he feels he's lost his father. Omid Scobie's tried to flip it round, going, oh no, Harry meant that Meghan had lost her dad. Well, if that was the case, she wouldn't be following it up by saying that's his decision. So you want to backpedal a little bit faster. So Meghan not being able to help herself, you know, it's not just Charles she went for. She does make a dig at Catherine and William and, of course, the British media. She talks about taking Archie to school, and she said that it would have been absolutely horrific because she wouldn't have been able to take him without 40 members of the press pack there outside the school gates. Well, that's a big fat lie. One, she doesn't know that because they left when Archie was still a baby. She says her children, well, Lily wasn't born then, do. The fact is, there are strict laws with the UK, with the media, that they cannot harass and stalk children, especially when it comes to school. I mean, there's one thing taking a picture of a celebrity's kid when they're out and about in the street, but this is a known fact. There is a reason why Catherine and William do the school runs themselves most days. And there are no photographs. You might get William in traffic, someone on a passerby going, oh, Prince William, you know, I think I'd be sneaky and do that. But they do not take photographs of the children. The only photographs that are released are literally what Catherine takes herself. You know, they do it at the beginning of the school term. It's a nice one to release to the public as the public wish the children well on starting their new school year or something. Sorry, I have a problem with that, she goes. That doesn't make me obsessed with privacy. That makes me a strong and good parent protecting my child. Irony is clearly lost on Meghan at this point. The fact that she's moaning about press intrusion and trying to keep privacy for their children. She's literally giving this interviewer intimate details in the vehicle with Archie in the car, sitting there in the back, eating a quesadilla, chatting away to her. Quesadilla, 3-year-old, back of the car. What could possibly go wrong? But it's not like Meghan will clean the car herself. So Meghan hasn't quite come to her big showpiece that she did for Alison, you know, for the interview, showing how kind and compassionate she is. They stop at traffic lights, and this is the moment. Meghan tells the security detail to get out of the car and grab a brand new black rucksack out of the trunk of the vehicle, the boot as we call it in the UK, which had a granola bar, some water and peanut butter crackers, and to hand it to a homeless man across the other side of the street. Let them eat cake moment. Now, this isn't Meghan getting out and doing it. This is she's instructing their security detail to get out the car and do it. She's doing it to teach Archie about poverty, about how some people live in rich big mansions and some people have nothing, and how some families like them have staff, servants, minions to do their bidding. But Meghan is teaching Archie humility and to be humble by getting her security guard to get out of the car and to go hand the stuff over. I'm sure the security guards probably had to pack the bags themselves, but just truly, she lives in a universe outside of our own. So once they were back at the property and Harry beatboxes to keep little Lily entertained with red hair just like her daddy Harry, and Harry's entertaining the children like the court jester and the fixer of sprinklers and pipes that he's become, demoted from Prince of the United Kingdom to a handyman of Montecito. So Meghan actually managed to leave Alison to finish up the interview as she shoved her towards the door with a little, I'd read it as a bit of a warning shot to the royal family, as have most people, and that is, I have a lot to say until I don't. Do you like that? Sometimes, as they say, the silent part is still part of the song. There's nothing silent about Meghan, and she has been singing a swan song since the day she married Harry. She never intended to stay in that family, and anyone, as I've said so many times, if you believe that Meghan truly gave everything up and married her prince for love, and she truly gave it her all and wanted to stay in the royal family and was going to hit the ground running, then I really do have toasted ice to sell you, honestly. But the final parting message was not quite enough. Meghan making everything out to be like she's Little House on the Prairie, Soho House, this little Montecito perfect Stepford wife herself, ironically. She gave Alison a leave-in basket, a harvest basket full of fresh fruit and vegetables, picked no doubt by their security team from the garden, and a jar of lily jam, picked and made from the bunny garden. Yeah. And no, not quite done with the vomit-inducing stuff. And as Alison signs off her article, she actually says that she left wondering, did she actually manage to write down everything that Meghan was trying to say? It's done in such a way that Alison is bemused throughout the entire article. Meghan spoke in riddles, but some of it was quite clearly just the ramblings of someone that is so detached from reality. It's unbelievable. Because it is like a case of Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yes, she did say that. Yes, she did do that. And it's just truly, at this point, I'm lost for words. Me. So on that note, I'm going to see you later, and I will see you soon, because we need to start talking about the real royals, because I've honestly had a little bit too much Montecito myself. So take care for now, guys, and I will see you soon.
If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.